Angle. I'm the VP for Rotary, and as you know, that gives us the privilege of recruiting our speakers. But this one came to me. Tom Booth said they spoke for the Satellite Club, and we really need to have them at our Monday lunch because it was so great. Am I right? Is that true? I hope that's right. Okay. This is Susan Dudley and Heather Collums, and let me just kind of give you, it's in your program, but I want to give you kind of a little background. Susan has a bachelor's degree in special ed from Mississippi State and a master's from southeastern Louisiana. And she has a 4-year career, multiple states. She's a national board certified teacher with Tupelo High School. And this is a neat key fact. She started the bowling team for Tupelo High School in 2004 and coached for 10 years. And they won 11 state championships, 7 with the boys and 4 with the girls. In 2014, she became the TPSD Special Ed Transition Coordinator. And during that time, she assisted with the SEARCH program. I think that's what they're talking about with us today. She's been the SEARCH program director for the last 2 years. And then Heather is with Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services, and she serves as the North Regional Manager within the Office of Business Development. And she, prior to this, she worked for 10 years as a teacher at Mississippi School as well, with a bachelor's degree in education and a master's in rehabilitation from the University of Alabama. And she and her husband and their family live here as well. So welcome, Susan and Heather. Talk to us about SEARCH from TPSD.
Can we control the PowerPoint from up here? No.
Just tell me next slide.
Okay, we can do that. Well, I'm Susan Dudley.
And I'm Heather Collums. Thank you.
Um,
And I'm Heather Collums, and we appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys today about this great program.
to see where you are. This is just a slide I put up there. This was my class from last year, from the 2020-2021 school year. And Project SEARCH is, I'll let you go to the next slide for me, Jeannie. The Project SEARCH is a business-led transition work program, and it goes for 1 full school year. It follows a school calendar, and it takes place in the workplace. It's full immersion into the workplace, and it includes classroom instruction, some career exploration, hands-on training. The interns participate in 3 unpaid internships, and the goal for each participant is competitive employment at the end of the program. And I heard this quote recently, and I thought it was really pretty cool. It says, employment is nature's physician and is essential to human happiness. So these students want to be just like everybody else. They want to have the opportunity to work. They want to be a part of our community.
And if I could just say, you know, when we talk about employment, like, as you know, we were new guests. As we sat at the table, one of the first conversations you have with someone is, this is my name is, this is where I work. You know, that's a big part of who we are, you know, our families and our workplaces. And so part of Project SEARCH is them having an identification through their workplace. And so that just kind of gives you an idea of, you know, developing an identity through employment.
All right, next slide.
Okay, so Project SEARCH, you know, we say this like it's, you know, common vocabulary for us. We're so used to saying this, Project SEARCH. And so we're excited about this program, but it originated at Cincinnati Children's Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio. And that is, you know, a prominent, you know, children's hospital. It originated in 1996. And to date, it has 600, as you can see from the slide, it has 624 program sites. That means Project SEARCH sites in different businesses, okay? That could either be in a hospital, or it can be, as we'll see, it can be in a any type of manufacturer. It can be any business that has over, you know, say 100 or so employees and has multiple opportunities for internship sites. So they're in 47 states and in 10 countries. So Project SEARCH is a big it is a big deal in a lot of places. Here in Mississippi, it came to us first at University Medical Center in Jackson. That's where we started at Mississippi. Mississippi Department of Rehab Services, we originated in that particular site. We went to University, UMMC, and discussed this with them, and we had some schools locally that joined us there, and that's where we started. It was so successful. We had such a great experience there that we expanded. On your tables, you have a handout. It gives you just, I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but if you're interested, you like kind of the history of how it all got started, what's going on in your home state, it tells you where it is in Mississippi. We're super excited what's going on here in Tupelo, but if you want to know where else in Mississippi the project search is going on, that tells you sites that we've had up to now, and then rolling out the 21-22 school year, where else we're rolling out. One that I want to mention is, like I said, typically it's in hospitals. That's just a great opportunity for internships, a lot of diversity as far as experience. You've got food and nutrition, you've got stocking opportunities, you've just got so many opportunities there. But this year we're starting something a little new at Viking. If you're familiar with Viking products, stove, ranges, all those kinds of products in the Delta. So Viking has joined us in the Delta, and they are going to be a project search site. So we're super excited about those. So in your handouts, they've got some information there. So we're super excited about that. Next slide, please.
So our program is made up of 3 different partners, the Tupelo Public School District, Mississippi Department of Rehab Services, and North Mississippi Health Services. Our host business within the North Mississippi Health Services is at the Tupelo Hospital at the North Mississippi Medical Center. All right, next slide. So this is our 3rd year in this program. We started in 2019-20 with that first group, and our year ended early because of the pandemic. So we were not only learning about a new program, but then we got kicked out of the hospital in March of that year. So we went home and we learned to do distance learning. We learned to use the computer to talk to each other. And we did not get to have our graduation that year, but we were able to schedule a time where we didn't do it virtual, but we did set up outside the furniture market. We did it outside, and each intern had a slotted time to come by, and we did a mini graduation for each one of them. Last year, they let us back in the hospital. We had another group for 2021. We did get to stay the whole year. We learned lots of new things about being safe, and where we had to wear masks the whole time. We could only have a certain number of people in the classroom, but we did make it through the full year. We only ended up having 1 week of virtual instruction. The rest of the time, it was all hands on. And we did get to have a real graduation that year. So we were excited. The kids were excited. And just a bit of information, the students have to be between 18 and 21 years of age in order to participate in this program. And it's considered their last year in high school. Next slide, please. So one of the first parts of the program is classroom instruction, and we'll do classroom instruction for 3 weeks of orientation before we ever make it to our first intern site. And then once we get past that point, they will have about an hour to an hour and a half in class each day, and then they will spend somewhere between 4 and 5 hours at their intern site, and it's fully immersed into the different departments within the hospital. And the hospital has been awesome. Their departments have just opened the doors. They've welcomed these interns in. They take them, they teach them, and it's amazing at the amount of growth we see from August to May.
And they also participate. They right off the bat, they do new employee orientation, and they, are acclimated to, the layout of the hospital. I mean, some of you may be fine. I'm still, when I go, I still have to look, okay, I'm going to this floor and have to read the map, and they are, very familiar with the hospital. You can go after they've been there for a few weeks and they know where everything is, they can help guide you around, so Susan does a great job, those first few weeks, just orienting them to the health and the safety and the wellness of themselves and the patients, but also just how to navigate the hospital. I mean, you know, that's a pretty big place. So it's a lot different from being at the high school. So.
It is a lot different. Now, our students do come from the high school, which is a large campus. So they're kind of used to moving around in a large space. But again, that hospital, this set of stairs may go one place, but this set of stairs goes another place. This elevator will take you to the 3rd floor, but this one you go over here takes you to the 5th floor. You've got to figure all those bits and pieces out. In our classroom time, now we have 9 units of study. One of them is team building. And the purpose of this team building is, I'd say 99% of these students have never had a job, have never experienced the workforce, and they don't know really how to work within a team in a work setting, how to be a valuable part, how to understand the roles and responsibilities, and how it takes each person of the team to make a successful job. And then we also work a lot with workplace safety. And within the hospital and in the different departments, and it's that way in any business, there are lots of safety issues. And so we cover a lot of safety things, and we talk about, you know, what ifs and how to know what to do. We also had a speaker that come in this past year because of all of the use of PPE. In addition to what was normally used there, we've had to use more, and how to stay clean and keep our classroom sanitized, how to wash our hands, how to wear a mask properly, how to put your gloves on, how to take your gloves off without contaminating yourself. I mean, those are things that they've never had the experience to do before. All right, next slide. Some of the other units of study we do are with technology. We work a lot with technology, even though in schools, students these days have computers in their classroom. They have access to computers. They have access to tablets and smartphones. Most of them don't know how to use email. They don't know how to create an email, how to include the important parts. They don't know how to send it, how to receive it, how to add an attachment. So we spend a good part of the year learning that. Many businesses, you have to fill out your applications online. So we've had HR from the hospital system come in, set us up in their online system, and we've learned how to fill out an application, how to maneuver when it says this, what does it mean you're really supposed to put right here. We work on a resume all year long. They're internships. We keep adding to the resume. We learn how to write a letter of resignation. At the end of each internship, 2 weeks before it's over, we have to submit our letter of resignation to our supervisor of the department. So we're trying to learn. Everything we do in the classroom is trying to prepare them for the role of employment. So next slide. Another piece of our curriculum is social and communication. And it's amazing the number of friends that these interns develop while they're there. And they become close friends. And it's just totally different from high school. The setting's different. They're dealing with adults. They're not dealing with other students. There's a whole lot less drama, which is great on my part. And one of the things we try to do with them in the classroom some is like a potluck, because when you're working somewhere, a lot of times there is a meal. And when different people bring parts of a meal, they've never experienced that. They don't know, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to bring? Is it okay if I don't like what somebody else brought? We also learn how to use the break rooms where you have a shared space and a refrigerator, and learn that sometimes that the food sitting in there is not for everyone. You cannot take it. You know, especially if it's got somebody's name on it, don't touch it. And just life skills, but they've never done that. We do try to do at least one community-based project every year, and we have for the past 2 years collected toys for the pediatric unit at the hospital for Christmas, and then we just take and deliver those toys at Christmas time. We also have to cover health and wellness. What does it mean to be healthy? What does it mean to stay well? How does it impact your job, your personal life? And so the Wellness Center is also one of our intern sites, but we try to take a trip over there with all the interns, and we talk about healthy diets, and we talk about exercise. And so just some more hands-on learning. How can you stay healthy in order to be able to work? Next slide. All right, self-advocacy is a hard piece for the interns to learn, because many of them may have some language-based problems. Many of them may have some speech problems. A lot of them will talk so soft that you can't understand them or you can't hear them. And so we work a lot with communication, how to ask for help if you need help. If you don't understand something, where do you go? You know, how to ask questions. We've also have to work with that constructive feedback part. When you're on a job, you're not always going to do everything right. And just because somebody's correcting you doesn't mean you're in trouble, and there's no reason to get upset about it. You just got to learn as we go. We talk about maintaining employment. What does it mean to be on time? I learned the first year I was there that none of the students could read an analog clock. They could read a digital clock, but there's not a digital clock anywhere in the hospital that I have found. So for Christmas that year, with the help of some donations, we bought all of the students a digital watch with alarms on them and taught them to use them, because they also have to learn how to take lunch or a break and to come back on time, not be late. They've had to learn how to read a work schedule. And that was kind of hard. And I have learned that not all work schedules look the same. And from business to business to business, they're everyone different. And so we've looked at lots of different kinds, trying to figure out, how do I know what day I'm supposed to work and where am I supposed to be on that day? Financial literacy is another big component. They've never had a paycheck. Most of them have never had a bank account. They don't know what to do with that money. They don't know how to budget it. They don't know how to use banking services. They don't understand taxes. So we do talk about the pay stub a lot and all of those parts that come out that you don't ever get to take home. And, you know, and then we do a real life budget, and we'll assign them a cost. It's going to cost them, it's going to cost you this much every month to live, every month. For rent, it's going to cost you this for your light bill, your water bill, your gas bill, your insurance. And then we look at the amount of money that they're making, and do you have enough money? And sometimes they don't have enough money. So then we have to start talking about, do you live by yourself? Do you live at home? Do you get a roommate? How are you going to survive? Mama's not going to support you forever.
At this point, when Susan starts talking about, you know, the financial literacy and the self-advocacy and soft skills, I know a lot of parents like myself are like, how can I sign my child up for Susan's class, or my young adult rather, you know, a lot of these lessons, you know, some people take for granted. You know, when you get to be 19, 20 years old, you don't just know some of these things, you have to experience them. And so that's the great thing about Project Search. It's this safe environment where that you can experience and figure some things out in a way that's constructive, that you can get positive feedback from your internships, that you can figure out that work schedule and how to be on time and how to work this out so that when you get a real paycheck, that you've got some of it figured out. So that's a great thing that she teaches in a lot of her classes.
Okay, next slide. There are 3 different internships throughout the year. These are unpaid and that's one of the hardest things for the student. But I'm working while getting paid, and it's really hard to get them to understand. This is a training program. We're teaching you how to work. And many people go to school for years. Their last year of school is an internship. Sometimes it's paid, sometimes it's not. So we finally get past that, and each one of their internships lasts for about 3 weeks. And we utilize a lot of the departments within the hospital. But before we ever decide where that first internship is going to be, we'll have speakers from different departments come to the classroom. We'll go visit all the different intern sites that are available to us. And then we go back and talk about the things that they saw. We talk about their strengths, their interests, and then we try to match them up with an intern site that will help provide them with the success they need. Now, when we go to their intern sites, we do have job coaches that work with us to help get them in. If they're struggling to learn a task, we sometimes work on that in the classroom, but then the job coach is there. But we want the job coach to stay. We want them to fade away and use the natural supports that are within the department.
The good thing about the job skill trainers, or the job coaches that we call them, is that you have somebody that works in that department. Let's, whatever department that is, emergency services or wherever it is, and they teach the skill. The job coach stands right there and listens as it's being taught. And then when that person goes away to do whatever their job is, that job skills trainer that can work with that person just one-on-one. It gives that one-on-one support so that the hospital, those people, they can pay their employees to do whatever they need to do, but our staff can kind of work with our students one-on-one. So it doesn't take them away from their job. So we supply those folks in those positions so that we can help them get the support they need without taking away from the hospital what those people need to do.
Okay, next slide. These are just slides of some of the intern sites that we do use, and we want them to learn just through that full immersion into the workplace. We've worked with the biomed department. We've worked in the food court area, food nutrition. We've also worked in the central kitchen. We've worked with central sterile processing. And in each one of these locations, the students, the interns, are learning a different skill set. And they don't have any skill sets when they start the program that they could go to an employer and say, look, I can do this and this and this. I think it'll match up to the job here. And they can apply for those jobs. Next slide. And we've learned that Project Search gives interns a purpose. And again, they want to be like everybody else. They want to be able to do, they want to go to work. And these are just some of the other interns. And we have found that a lot of the departments there, the things that they do will transfer to jobs in the community. We don't expect the hospital to hire all of these interns when the year is over, but we do want them to have the opportunity to experience these so then they can take those job skill sets and go apply for a job somewhere in the community. Next slide. The pictures I've got up here are a mix from the first year program and the second year program. But the interns do now wear a bright blue shirt. So if you're ever in the hospital, you see them out and about, remember, be patient with them. They are learning, they're in training. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. But we keep working at it until they do.
They'll have a logo on their shirt. On the flyer, you see the little logo. They'll have a logo on their shirt. So feel free to if they're doing a great job, compliment them. But you'll see them in the hospital when you go visit, hopefully.
Now, if you come before December, they may or may not speak to you, but if you come after December, most all of them will talk to you. They do grow up fast.
Just like the rest of us, we're all a work in progress.
Okay, next slide. So kind of where are our graduates now? So we do have some that are employed full-time with benefits. We've got 2 from the first year program and 2 from the second year program. And now remember, our goal is competitive employment for every intern. The last 2 years have been a real challenge with the pandemic, so things have not worked quite as we wanted them to, but I'm excited that the interns are still learning. They're out there, they're still trying. We do have 1 intern employed part-time from this last program, and that intern has also decided to go back to school and is working on his GED through ICC. So he got some experience with us and figured out that I want more than what I've got right now. So he's just taking the next steps to get to that. We've had some other opportunities with paid internships for additional training, career exploration.
Right. So when they go to the hospital, they're learning skills that they can take into the community. Like Susan said, everybody's not going to work in the hospital after they graduate search, and that's okay. So they take those skills and they use those skills in the community to find jobs out in the community. But sometimes we do an additional internship. So we're just kind of, making sure they at least have a baseline of skills, but they may need a specific skill set. And so we want to create those opportunities, or they need to enhance a skill. We have incentives with companies, businesses, employers in our area to provide where we pay for that training. So if you're not sure, if that business is not sure, we just want to provide those extra incentives.
And then we still have 2 interns from the first year program and 3 from last year's program that are not full-time employed, not part-time employed, but they are doing some other things. Some of them are not in the public and are doing things at home strictly because of their health issues and the exposure that they would get to the virus if they were out in the public all the time. All right, next slide.
So you hear all this information and you're like, okay, great, sounds wonderful. What does that mean? You know, so we just want to challenge you with the information that you've heard. Just kind of want to put a challenge back to you with this information. Think about the information that you've heard and how you can be more inclusive in your daily life. Think about how you may have a certain perception of individuals that you think, I just don't think they have skills to be employed in certain areas. Think again. You know, a lot of Susan's students, you know, they come at a certain level and she works with them and provides that training and support. And by the time of graduation, they are full-time employees that are doing some really great things. And like, I'll just say laundry is one of them that we've had some employments, and they are some of the best employees, some of the top producers. They're at work every day. They're putting 100%. They're getting full-time benefits. They're also taxpayers. I mean, you know, we all like taxpayers, right? I'm just saying, you know, give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, just because you have a certain perception, don't discredit anybody's opportunity or think that they can't do something. They can. They just might need a little extra support. And so programs like this, other programs through the Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services, you know, we're here to provide support for people to help them get employment. We just want you to give them a chance. Also, if you hear about somebody and if you see a resume, if you're a business owner or you have some supervisory position where you hire and you see a project search graduate, hey, give those fit folks a shot, or hey, call one of us and we'll vouch for them. Or, you know, if you're not really sure, and that's okay, hey, you might want to offer an internship or a training. We pay for that. You know, so think about some of those things. Susan mentioned earlier too, she does have guest speakers come in. She has a lot of people come and talk to the group about other opportunities, career exploration. You might be a guest speaker. You may open the doors to your business or your company or your office. So, hey, let them explore some opportunities. We took a tour of a furniture manufacturer. We've done some tours to kind of just broaden their horizons to see what are some possible interests they have. So, think about that.
And we have found that many of these students have never had the opportunity to explore businesses outside of going into a fast food restaurant or Walmart. I mean, they really do not know what other people do for work, how they support themselves. And so that is one of my goals, is to try to get them out more, just to visit different businesses within our community, to maybe see if there's something there that sparks an interest or they would like to learn.
Or if you're not sure how you can be involved, hey, get with us afterwards and we'll be glad to help you out.
Oh, most definitely. Now, I did have a lot of people, we tried during our internships, one of the 3 to be a real challenge to the intern. We want to make them stretch. We want to make them grow. And it's amazing sometimes when we do make them go somewhere where they're not really comfortable, when they come back, that ends up being one of their favorite places. But I had multiple people tell me that this child right here could not do this job. I was like, yes, you can. It just took us probably twice as long as someone else to learn. She had enough fine motor skill issues that it took us a long time to learn to clean and roll the tubes on this machine. And then while you're holding this rolled tube, take this piece of stretchy material and tie it so it didn't fall back out the floor after it's been sanitized. She got it. Not only that, she learned to use a computer to scan all of them back into inventory. And this computer program to scan them back into inventory, I'm not sure I could ever get it straight. It's got about 9 different steps. You got to scan this, you got to scan your badge, you got to scan this, then you got to scan this, then you got to scan this again. But she could do it. By the end of her internship, she was doing it all independently without any help. So they can do, just give them a chance. Don't underestimate them. All right, next slide, please. And look, questions. Anybody got questions? We like what we do. I'm willing to share. And I can honestly say, this is the best teaching job I have ever had, because I can see the benefits of the kids and I can see how much they grow.
I have a 2-part question. For a school district that wants to get involved in this, what kind of training is involved? And similarly, for an employer who would like to offer internships, how do they connect and what's the best way to do that? School districts and employers, like you can see from the flyer, we have so many on there. And so we have kind of several that we're looking at because it's a kind of on the financial side, it's also a big investment. You're bringing together multiple partners of people. If there is a employer that might want to be involved with something this big scale, we definitely have a discussion with them. There's a few criteria. Like I said, they have to have a certain number of employees, a certain number of internship possibilities. So that's always a consideration. If there's an employer that's interested, definitely get with me and we can definitely consider that. As far as the school district, I can put you in contact. We have a project search person that's for the whole state. Definitely get with me too. Our executive director, Mr. Chris Howard, he is all about project search. He loves this program, as do most of us that are involved. And so we're really looking at expanding and keep expanding. The only exception is we have to pace ourselves because it's a big undertaking. So we have tried to just roll it out piece by piece. So we definitely want to keep expanding. His goal, honestly, he wants to have it almost every school in the state at some point to have the opportunity to participate. So we want to keep every year adding on. So yes, if you have some schools or employers that are interested, I've got business cards. I'll be glad to give them to you.
Qualifies for the program, age range.
The program is designed for students with disabilities, and they are students that typically will not go on to work or will not go on to school somewhere. They just don't have the skill set to do that, but they make wonderful employees once we give them this training. So they are individuals with disabilities.
When do you capture them?
Well, we're learning as we go. We're going to start with the middle school students and parents this year, just introducing them to what we have to offer. So when they get to that last year of high school, they're prepared for it. We are struggling statewide this year in all the project search programs to have the numbers that we want. A lot of it is because of the pandemic. A lot of it is because we are based in hospitals and parents see that as not a safe place with all that's going on. I can honestly say that I feel safer in the hospital than I do in the schools because it is clean, it is sanitized. I mean, they take all the precautions, and we did not have any students or staff members contact the virus last year from being in the hospital. The ones that did, it was from family events. So, it's safe.
But ideally, we would like to start working with families, like as far as Mississippi Department of Rehab Services, we start working with students with disabilities at age 14. So if you know someone that has a student with a disability, feel free to get with me. I have some brochures actually about our services. I'd be glad to hand one to you. It can put you in contact with our department. As a matter of fact, even if someone they don't have to go to Tupelo School to receive services. They do for Project Search, but not our services as a whole. So I definitely can put you in contact. I know Robbie and his folks have been great. They have worked with some of our students on internships, different things. He's been great. So if you have, if you're a business owner and you say, this is great. I would love to host maybe an internship for a student or, a young adult or whatever. Please get with me. I would love to explore that opportunity with you.
Any other questions? Well, thank you.
Thank you.